Hey, Coach, Mark Armstrong with ABC 11 back in the Triangle. You've got a lot of established commodities on your team with Marcus and Kennedy and Bryce. What are you expected to see out of the now sophomore class? How much improvement and how important are they to your overall success?
Well, you know, Marcus and Bryce, particularly seniors who have played a great deal since they were sophomores, Kennedy a junior, you don't see a lot of experienced teams at in the top 20 level. You know, the Marcus could have gone to the NBA. No one else was beating down the doors for any of the other guys, but they're pretty doggone good. And now all of a sudden we're here, and it's fun at practice. They know if I do repeat something from year before, they jump into it quicker. They help coach the other kids to get it quicker. I've always said every coach would take talent. Your second choice would be experience, and if you could get experienced talent, that's the best you could have, and I think we have some of that. You go back and look in the recent memory, pick a number 10 or 15 years, most of those teams that win the national championship, with the only exception that jumps out at me is Kevin Ollie, where you have, he had a great run there with Connecticut, but most of those teams have 2 or 3 or 4 #1 draft choices. But my guys have hung around and hopefully used as a fuel the way we felt after the Wisconsin game last year. We had a 7-point lead with 11 minutes to go and led Duke at one point in both second halves of those games, and Duke and Wisconsin played for the national championship. So we think we've got a chance. I don't know if we've got those 2 or 3 or 4 #1 draft choices on our team that I talked about, but it's a fun group of kids, and I'm really enjoying going to practice every day, except my stupid knees.
Can you address
Okay. Mark.
softs like Vincent and Justin and Joel? What do you expect from them? What do you need?
Well, it's a really good class. I mean, Justin started almost every game, if not every game last year, with the exception of senior day. Got better and better and better as the season went along. Joel Berry was out for a little while, injured. Theo broke his foot in the Wake Forest game, sat out about 6 weeks and tried to come back. Didn't do it, and then had surgery, I think, May 4th. Did not play a single pickup game all year, all summer. The first time he played 5-on-5 after our season was over is when we officially started practice this year. And I think next week we'll be completely released to do everything. And all 3 of those guys are going to play a heck of a lot for us and be extremely important to us. I think that Justin can take another huge step. I think that Joel Berry can do the same thing. And Theo, even though he didn't get as much time as those 2 guys because of the injury, he's had some real moments at practice. If I can get him to play nearly as well as he talks, we'll be really good, because that young man can talk with the best of them. But it's a fun kind of thing, and I'm enjoying him immensely, enjoying the heck out of him being almost healthy.
Back row coach to the left.
Bob Holliday, WRL.com.
Bob.
Good to see you. Your teams at Kansas were well known for the defensive pressure, especially in the backcourt. Does this team have the depth and the athleticism to play defense the way you like to play?
You know, last year I didn't think we were a very good defensive team, and we've challenged them. I told Tony this morning. I asked our guys, maybe it was Monday's practice. I said, who was the best defensive team we played last year? And everybody sort of stood around and looked, and Marcus, of course, said Virginia. I said, they've won the last 2 regular season championships. And I'm trying to get our guys to have a little more pride defensively in that. We're having, you know, a geographical problem, because I'm trying to explain to them that we wanted to pick up our pressure at the midcourt line, and they keep thinking that's foul line instead of the midcourt line. So we've got to get through some things like that, but I really hope that we'll be a lot better defensively.
Coach to your right, second row.
Mandy Mitchell, WRL, back in Raleigh. Kennedy was telling us about a sign that you put in the locker room to remind them of maybe games that you guys let slip away. Can you tell us about that sign, and why'd you decide to do that?
Well, the sign says very easily, we need to finish better. What can you do to help? Let's finish better. There were 8 games last year where we had leads in the second half and ended up losing. Now, we did come back a couple of times. We had a couple, I guess, of those the other way, but I think we're a mature team now, much more mature, to say the least, than we were last year, and we've got to be able to finish games. You got to have some toughness about you, and toughness is not just you know, being willing to fight somebody. Toughness is making a better box out, diving on the floor and getting a loose ball, or simply do what you're told to do. If I tell you to go over across the lane and set a screen, guess what I want you to do? Go across the lane and set a screen, and don't forget that just because it's a one-point game and you're trying to do something that mama or grandmama like. And we have that in our weight room, and we have it in the locker room, but they still got to come up with it and get something from it.
Follow-up from Bob Holliday.
You, of course, like to play fast. A lot of the other coaches and teams in the league don't like to play fast, and you've seen a lot of different ways to kind of slow you down. Do you feel like you've learned anything in all those late-night creative brainstorming sessions about how can we get the tempo up? Have you learned anything? Will the new rules help you at all?
You know, I personally don't think going from 35 to 30 is that big a difference. I was coaching when we started out with a 45 clock. Well, started out, we had no clock, and then went to 45, and that was a big difference. And 45 to 35 was quite a difference also. I'm not so sure that 35 to 30 is that big a deal. We all the time are concerned about trying to speed teams up because I really love to play fast. We've never had a team that played as fast as I wanted them to play. I had a team at Kansas that averaged 92. We had, I guess, our 09 team averaged about 90. We've been practicing this year. It's been fun. We've been practicing with a 15-second clock and, you know, trying to get them to go harder and be more aggressive and attack more and see if that helps us. You know, it's been fun to watch. They say it's a hard drill, but that's the worst thing to tell a coach because he's going to do it more.
Coach, you got a follow-up here to the left with Mark.
Mark.
Outside looking in, you seem to have a lot of fun-loving guys. Like you were talking about Pinson, and Kennedy comes off that way as well, Joel James. Who's maybe the guy on the team that has the kind of fire in his belly that you would like the other players to adopt?
You know, Marcus is one of those kids that you find a difficult time finding anything wrong with him. He's got every part of the game, every part of the makeup that you want. He loves having fun. He loves to laugh, and sometimes the guys get on him, or somebody hid in his locker one time and he opened it up and they jumped out and you thought he'd had a heart attack. He will not get in an elevator with more than one person, you know. So he's a little wacko, but he's the one that's the most serious guy, and he's the one that's telling our guys all the time, hey, we've got some big-time dreams and goals. But it's a fun team. It's, you know, we've got to get tougher. You know, Kennedy, I'm scared to death what Kennedy said to you guys today. There's no telling what's going to come out of his mouth. But if you do see Kennedy, just call him 10, and then he will just turn every shade that you can, because the fact of the matter is that they took 40 cc's fluid out of my knee a couple of weeks ago. I did not miss one practice. They took 10 cc's out of Kennedy's, and he missed a week. So I just nicknamed him 10. Now, he'll tell you it's the other way around, but trust me, I'm telling you the truth. But think of what that young man's done. Came in at 319. He's touched 258 this year on the scales. He's done some good things to change his play. He's a fun-loving guy, a kid that I love being with, and I'm just pushing him a little bit more. But I'm very fortunate to have a great group.
Coach, your last question will come from behind Mark.
Speaking of Kennedy, he said adding Sean to the staff, Sean May, was really important to him. Can you kind of compare those two players since you coached them both?
Well, there were two guys who have fought a tremendously difficult battle of losing weight. Everybody tells me that's the hardest thing in the world to do. Sean refocused his energy, focused on doing something that was great for his body, and it had immediate dividends with his play. My first year back at North Carolina in 2004, we played Texas in the second round NCAA game, and they had about 4, 6'9", 6'10" guys there running in and out at Sean, and he just wanted the game to be over with. But he focused after that, and his focus and determination made him lose a lot of weight, change the weight around, and he became the most dominating player in college basketball in 2005. And Kennedy's had to lose a lot of weight from 319, like I say, down. He's seen 258 on the scales. That's really, really difficult. Now, Sean has to take that new body and do different things. Don't think that you can explode up and shoot your jump hook, that you always have to do the double pump and lay it up against the guy's armpits or anything like that. Jump up in the air and be a better basketball player. And Kennedy's really paid a tremendous price, and I think he's getting it each and every day. And like I say, if you see him, call him 10. He'll try to turn it around, but that's the truth of the matter.